Laundromats have a 28% average profit margin, genuinely one of the best numbers we've found on this channel. That's not the lie. The lie is passive. We pulled real transaction data, not marketing numbers. The laundromats actually selling on the market right now have a median revenue of $215,500 a year. The $500,000 to $1 million examples you see pitched online, those exist. They're just not the median. They're the best case listings, and there's a reason those are the ones getting posted. Here's what we're walking through. Why passive and profitable behave like a dial you turn. Not a package you buy. Turn down your own hours, and you turn down your own ceiling with them. What the real math looks like once you strip out the marketing number. What actually happens when a machine breaks down for 2 weeks straight. And why there's $5,000 to $15,000 in cash sitting exposed in this business at any given time, whether you're there to watch it or not. Let's start with the number they don't put in the listing. Every laundromat pitch you've seen online sells you the same image. Quarters falling into a machine while you're at home. Asleep, on vacation, wherever, money made without you there. That's the unattended model. No staff on site, just a cleaner swinging by once or twice a day and a technician on call. And it's real. This model exists, and it does cut your labor costs close to zero. Here's what it doesn't do. Get you to the top of the revenue range. Unattended stores cap out on revenue per square foot. No wash and fold service, no attendant upselling a dry cleaning drop-off, no staffed hours to catch the customer who'd pay more for convenience. You've minimized your time. You've also minimized your ceiling. Now go the other direction. Staff the place, run a wash and fold counter, keep someone on site during peak hours, and now you're looking at labor eating 25 to 35% of your operating expenses. That's the version of this business that can actually reach the higher end of the revenue range. It's also the version where passive quietly leaves the conversation. And there's a middle position on this dial too, the semi-attended model, staffed only during peak hours, unattended the rest of the day. It's the compromise most owners actually land on in practice. But notice what that means. Even the middle ground here still means showing up. There is no point on this dial that's both fully hands-off and fully optimized. You are always trading one for the other. Nobody selling you a laundromat tells you which end of that dial their revenue number came from. They just show you the number. Let's talk about where that revenue number actually comes from, because this is the part that should bother you most. Industry sources will tell you the average laundromat pulls in $504,000 a year. Some go further. A well-positioned store with 40 to 60 washers in a dense rental market can clear $600,000 to $1 million. Those numbers are real. They're also not what's actually for sale. We looked at real transaction data, laundromats that actually changed hands, actually sold over the last several years. The median revenue on those deals, $215,500, not $500,000. Not $1 million. $215,000, that's not a small gap. That's the difference between a business clearing real money and a business barely justifying the loan on it. And the reason you don't hear the $215,500 number is simple. Nobody's making a YouTube video or a listing photo out of the median laundromat. They're making it out of the best one they can find. If you're underwriting this purchase using the $504,000 number, you are underwriting it using a fantasy. If you're underwriting it using $215,500, you're underwriting it using what actually happens to most people who buy one. So let's actually run this, not the marketed number, the real one. Take the median, $215,500 a year in revenue. Apply the average net margin for this industry, 28%. That's roughly $60,000 a year in actual profit for the laundromat that's actually representative of what's for sale, not the one in the ad. Now put that against what it costs to get in. Startup costs for a laundromat run $200,000 to $500,000, depending on whether you're buying new equipment and a full build-out or picking up an existing store with older machines. Divide a realistic $60,000 a year profit into that range, and you're looking at a payback period of roughly 3 to 12 years before you've even earned back your initial investment, before financing costs, before interest on whatever loan got you there in the first place. That's not a scam. That's a real business with a real multi-year payback window, the same as any other. But it's a very different pitch than, buy it and it pays for itself in year one, which is the version that tends to show up in the marketing, and the 28% margin isn't free money sitting. On top of the revenue number, it's what's left after utilities, which run 15 to 30% of revenue, and rent, which runs another 10 to 25%. Add those two lines alone at the low end, and you're already down 25% of revenue before a single other cost hits the page. At the high end, you're down 55%. Whatever labor model you picked back in part 1 comes out of what's left after that. This is the number that should be in every laundromat pitch, and almost never is. Not $504,000 a year, but $60,000 a year. After a $200,000 to $500,000 bet over several years. Here's the part that matters most if you're planning to be the hands-off owner from part 1. A commercial washer costs $5,000 to $15,000. A dryer, $6,000 to $10,000. Under normal conditions, washers last 10 to 15 years and dryers 15 to 20. But normal conditions assumes a store doing normal volume. A laundromat pushing 10,000 plus loads a year, which is what you need to hit those higher revenue numbers, wears equipment down toward the low end of that range. The better this business is doing, the faster its equipment dies. Do the math on that. A full equipment set often runs $150,000 or more. Spread that over a realistic 12 to 13-year blended lifespan, and you should be setting aside somewhere around $11,000 to $12,000 a year just to fund the next replacement cycle, before any other maintenance. Against that median $60,000 profit number from part 3, that's close to a fifth of your annual profit that shouldn't be spent, only saved for the day the machines wear out. Skip that discipline. And you've built the exact same maintenance trap we found in the boutique gym model. Profit that never actually compounds because it's already spoken for. And when a machine actually fails, motor burnout, bearing failure, an electrical surge, you're not looking at a same-day fix. You're looking at 1 to 2 weeks with that machine sitting dead. During those 2 weeks, zero revenue from that unit, a repair bill on top of it, and rent that doesn't pause just because a washer did. Now stack that against the absentee model from part 1. The less present you are, the longer a dead machine sits dead before anyone even notices it's dead. The 2 weeks isn't the floor. For a genuinely hands-off owner, it's closer to the floor of the best case. One more thing the walk by and collect quarters version of this pitch leaves out. At any given moment, a 40-machine laundromat can have $5,000 to $15,000 sitting in its coin boxes, waiting to be collected. That's not a hypothetical risk. Coin box theft is common enough that there's an entire category of equipment built specifically to fight it. Anti-theft coin mechanisms, reinforced hasps, tamper-resistant coin races. People engineer hardware to stop this because crowbars and stuffed coin slots are a known, ongoing problem in this business. Not a rare one. And once again, this risk lands hardest on exactly the ownership model that's being marketed as the dream. The less often you're physically checking on this business, the longer that cash sits exposed, and the later you find out if it's gone. So here's where that leaves you. This isn't a business with fake numbers. 28% average margins are genuinely good. Better than almost anything else we've broken down on this channel. The problem was never the profit. It's that every version of passive you've been shown quietly assumes away the things that make the profit real. The labor that gets you to the top of the revenue range, the equipment reserve that has to come out of profit before you ever see it, and the cash and machines nobody's watching closely enough. Run the real numbers and you get a solid business with a 3 to 12-year payback. Not a bad outcome, but a completely different pitch than the one you were shown. Pick a position on that dial. Just know you're picking one. Nobody selling you this business is going to tell you which one their numbers came from. One honest note before we go, you'll see plenty of laundromats only take 5 hours a week. Claims out there. We didn't put a number like that in this video. Every source making that claim is an equipment vendor or a broker with a laundromat to sell you. That's not a stat. That's a sales pitch wearing one. If you're evaluating a laundromat right now, or you already own one and know exactly which side of this dial you landed on, let us know in the comments.